Hello, my name's Gavin. This is Genre Books, and this is week 9 of the Read What You Own challenge, and the first of 2025. The Read What You Own challenge was devised by Criminoli as some kind of sick joke, and it challenges readers to read a certain number of the books from their own shelves before they buy any new ones. This began in November, but this is week 9, as I've said, and I am 39 books into the challenge. I'm going for the 100 books. You can do 25, 50, you can do a page count challenge instead, which averages each book out to be 250 pages, but I'm just going with the 100 books. I say just. This is going to take me some time still. And this week, yes, I've not made great progress, but I've got some brilliant excuses. The first work I finished is one that I mentioned last week, which was James McBride's Sim's Theory of Concentric Spheres. It's got a much longer title, which I don't think we have time for. But I did speak about this work in my video which came out last night, which was the first of my Project Rabbit Hole videos. This is looking at underground worlds, hollow earths, secret civilizations, lost continents, that sort of fun stuff. It's a long project. I've only just begun, but looking at a very specific kind of hollow earth, where the ideas came from, and this work expounding the theory and going into some fairly excruciating detail. The next work I read was also for a project I've got going, and one which is a little lighter in tone and less taxing on my time, and that is the Marple cinematic universe. I had not read any Agatha Christie before this, and I'm reading a lot of Miss Marple. I'm going to be watching a lot of Miss Marple and deciding who was the best Miss Marple. And I began with the 450 from Paddington. I think this has another title in the United States, What Mrs. McGillicuddy Saw. I think this is the snappier title, but Paddington, you'll have to know, is a train station. So we're talking about a train, we're talking about a murder witnessed on a train, and Miss Marple trying to solve that mystery. Miss Marple doesn't feature in this book as much as I thought she was going to. We follow an inspector from New Scotland Yard, and we also follow Lucy Isleworth, who Miss Marple has finagled to get hired by the family of an estate where she thinks the body of the murder victim resides. Very much enjoyed it. I have a feeling Agatha Christie did not like paying income tax. I think it's possibly the subject raised more times than any others. There is also an undercurrent of how women should behave in society, or their function in society, which, if this was written by a man, would absolutely be castigated. Lucy Isleworth is a great character with one huge flaw. She is a maths whiz. She is a graduate from Oxford, Cambridge, one of the two big universities, and seems to have a bright career in front of her, and decides to become a sort of troubleshooting homemaker. It's very odd choice of career. Obviously it helps the plot to have a very capable person in a menial position, but it still is was it menial? Subservient, which is, I think, worse. So yeah, this is not without its problems, but as a mystery, it was fun. It wrapped up very quickly, but this is probably my naivety when it comes to both Christie and whodunits in general. The next thing I read was Planet Stories, Volume 1, Issue number 8. I'd read some of the short stories in this magazine before, but I had not read the cover story, which was Yando Binder's Vassals of the Master World. This is billed as being a novel. It's about 40 pages, but 40 pages of double column, very small type. So a novella at best. And I would say the story is par for the course. I'm going to be doing a deep dive into this issue of Planet Stories, so I won't talk very much about it now. Suffice to say that for the Read What You Own challenge, this doesn't count because it's a pulp magazine and I excluded pulp magazines. I excluded pulp magazines because I might want to get some, so I excluded them as being works I'd read as well. If I'd have been doing a page count, they would have counted. But I don't think, on the balance of things, that would have helped me an awful lot. And it only took a morning to read, so I haven't lost a lot there. The next thing I did probably torpedoed my reading week more than any other event, and that is I rearranged my shelves. This took the best part of 2 days. But I think, in a way, this is going to be psychologically beneficial for the Read What You Own challenge. Books that have been languishing at the back of the 3 stacks of books on these shelves, some of them have come to the front. The hardback books are all in the same place now. The books I'm going to read or planning to read this coming year are in a few cubicles, so I can put my hands on them easily. Everything else is alphabetized, so if I'm looking for something I can find it, and it just feels, looking at my shelves, I see books I've not seen for months, sometimes for years. I go, oh, I've got that, oh, I have that. It's like I've gone shopping. It's like I've been on a big splurge. So if you are struggling with Read What You Own, just rearrange your bookshelves. That helps, at least in the short term. The only other book I've finished this week is, again, part of another long-term project of my own, and that is to read at least 50 books from Zayn Grey, and I'm starting with his first, Betty Zane. Again, I'm going to be doing videos on this, so I won't talk very much about the book itself. Suffice to say, after a slow start, I enjoyed this very much. Not without reservation, but more perhaps than I was expecting to, especially after the first sort of 50, 70 pages. I have, in the last week, also started 2 books. One is going to take me a while, and one is not. This is the one that is not. I started this last night as soon as I'd finished Betty Zane, and this is Clifford D. Simak, The Goblin Reservation, which is a group read organised by Sean D. Standfast, and yes, hopefully I might finish this by the end of the day if I get enough hours. From a longer term perspective, I also started Marcel Proust, Remembrance of Things Past, or In Search of Lost Time, if you prefer. This is another group read, this time organised by Greg at Another Bibliophile Reads and Randy Ray, the literate Texan. This is a slow read of all 7 volumes of Proust's work. And yes, I won't go on too much about it because I've only read the first 50 pages, the overture of the first volume at Swan's Way. It is, as you would expect, very good. I've only just got to the bit where Marcel has eaten his memory biscuits and had a wave of nostalgia. I'm literally only just starting this, but it's something I'm looking forward to persevering with. 2025 is a year, seemingly, of longer reading events. We're still going to have the monthly events, but there seems to be an underlying current of long-term reading projects. For me, there's the ones I've imposed upon myself. Planet Stories, The Project Rabbit Hole, now the Zayn Grey. There are returning events, MJ with the banned books. There are new events, Endless Drama, Mariandrea and the Latin authors. There's the Marcel Proust year-long readathon. The Historathon, again, perennial returning favourite. Some of these I just don't have time to take part in, and I would if I did. But I do have an announcement of another long-term reading project, and one which will actually take longer than a year, looking at the schedule that's been drawn up, and that is a group read of the 1001 Nights, or the 1000 Nights and One Night, or the Arabian Nights, depending again on your translation. This is only volume 1 of a 4-volume work for me. For other people it's a 3-volume work, but in each of these editions there are 1001 Nights, which is helpful in determining how to organise your schedules. There are a number of booktubers who are going to be reading this at a fairly slow pace over the next 17 months, I think it's going to be, starting in February and continuing until June of 2026. So far, I believe we have on board Scheherazade, the Standfast, Randy Ray, the Literate Genie, Mark at Book Time with Harun al-Rashid, and Simbrandi, the Book Eclectic. If you want to join us in reading this monolith of world literature, let any of us know, and we will link you to the Voxer Group. We're not starting until February, so there's time to get a copy. I am bound to say a copy is available on Gutenberg. I think there is like a 17-volume copy available on Gutenberg, translated by Richard Burton, a writer I recently, or I last came across whilst reading Philip Jose Farmer's To Your Scattered Bodies Go, where he turns up as the main character. This should be great, and great fun, and episodic fun as well. So we have Sinbad the Sailor, we have Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves, we have Aladdin, we have quite a few more. Tales from the Islamic Golden Age and from earlier times, collated, readapted, retold, translated in a myriad different ways. I think we're going to have quite a lot of fun in looking at the differences of all the different copies people have. There are fairly racy versions, there are bowdlerized versions, there is all sorts. Have a look, see what you think, but I recommend you join in. But that's the week. I would say 1001 Nights is going to do absolutely nothing for my Read What You Own challenge statistics, but here we are, end of week 9. This piece of paper becoming a little tattier each week, but I'm up to 39. Should I finish the Simak today, I'll get to 40. So yes, 40% of the way through the challenge. Maybe time to crack out some short books to boost those numbers to make myself feel better for the next couple of weeks. But until then, bye.